Hello and welcome to this video course on advanced Java programming. My name is Mike McMillan and I'm going to be your instructor for this course. In this course, we're going to cover topics that are beyond what is normally taught in a beginning Java course, hence the name Advanced Java. So you should have some previous Java programming experience, either through self-study, through a course somewhere, or hopefully through our InfiniteSkills beginning Java programming course. In this course, the topics we're going to cover are fairly broad. And let me speak a little bit about the broad nature of this course. What I've tried to do is cover several advanced topics, but not cover any one particular topic in too much depth. Because to be honest, each one of these topics is a course in and of itself. So what I hope to do through my courses is give you the confidence to explore these topics in more detail after I've given you an introduction to them. So let's look over the topics we're going to be talking about in this course. First of all, we're going to be talking about generic programming. Generic programming allows us to build classes and methods and data structures without specifying a particular data type for the underlying data, at least not at compile time. Then when we run the program, we can specify, or when we write the program to utilize the class or the data structure, we specify a particular type. That's what generic programming is in a nutshell. After that, we're going to talk about sequential collections or data structures. Sequential meaning linear. After that, we're going to be talking about associative collections or associative data structures such as maps. Next, we're going to talk about classic data structures, and by that I mean stacks and queues and linked lists, the things you might have studied in a data structures course in college if you took one. Next up will be sorting and searching algorithms. We'll look at 3 or 4 of each type, from relatively basic to somewhat complex. Then we'll talk about exception handling and how to deal with the errors that come up in your programs. We follow exception handling with database programming with JDBC, and we'll also be using the MySQL database. After that, we'll talk about network programming, primarily TCP/IP programming. After that, we talk about GUI development using the Swing toolkit. Follow that with a brief overview of multi-thread programming. I emphasize brief because that's a very complex topic. Certainly a course itself, but we will cover the basics of multi-threaded programming. Next, we'll talk about Java applets. Those are little programs written in Java that run on the web browser. We follow that with a section on Java web applications, or also called servlets. Those are programs written in Java that run on the server side of the web. Next, we talk about Java Bean programming, and that's creating component-based software in Java. Then we talk about a new set of classes for performing input and output called NIO. So that's Advanced Java Input Output. Then we talk about strings and the string builder class. Strings can be somewhat inefficient when you're doing large operations on strings, and so Java has a class called the string builder class that makes those operations more efficient. We follow that with a section on regular expressions, followed by some very basic graphics in Java, drawing simple lines and shapes. And then we wrap up the course with a little overview of using the Eclipse IDE. I will mention that, as in my first course, I stick to Notepad and basic text editors in the course, primarily because I don't want to try to influence you with any particular IDE, because not everyone will use the same one. And learning IDEs is also separate courses, so we could have a whole course on Eclipse, or a whole course on NetBeans, or one of the other Java IDEs. In a couple of places in the course, I reference a couple of textbooks that you might want to look at for further study. Those are Java, the Complete Reference, the 8th edition by Herbert Schult, and Java Programming Advanced Topics, written by Joe Wigglesworth and Paula McMillan. And there is no relationship between myself and Paula McMillan. So this is not some sort of kickback opportunity. This is just a book I used in a college course I took on advanced Java programming, and I found it very helpful. It's quite readable, with good examples. So that's an overview of this course, and I'm excited to be bringing this material to you, and I hope you're excited about learning it. And with no further ado, let's jump right in and start learning about generic programming.